must thank my old friend CDR and Dr. Manamolu for giving me an opportunity to come and interact with you. In fact, it has been a great experience listening to various people on what they are doing on the skills development. First of all, I must confess that when Mr. Manamolu came and asked me to join them as a knowledge partner, I agreed without knowing what it is. So what I suggest is, what I am going to do is, I am going to suggest some issues which perhaps you could discuss in that particular place and then try to find some answers from the knowledgeable people. Firstly, I want to say the topic you have chosen is an extremely important one, because without that, none of the programs of Government of India can succeed, whether it is Make in India, Digital India, Startup India, Wake Up India, whatever it is, none of them are going to succeed unless this training is there. My friend Jayesh is very right. Ever since we are recruited into the IAS, we have been talking about training the people and then capacity building and then giving them all this one. So the words keep on changing, once you call it skill development, something else you say knowledge society, so knowledge impartment. But the point is the same, training them to be capable of doing what they are expected to do. And second thing I want to mention, that when you are talking of skilling, which are the people you are talking about to be skilled? Is it only restricted to IT and ITES or some of those things? Aren't there other fields? There are a huge number of fields. As it is, there are about 38 to 40 sectoral, skill, these things, committees. So, let us not focus only on the IT. Ultimately, everything you can put brick making, sort of anything you can do. But I think you need to improve the skills there. The point is, even talking about the IT business, I was just reading a newspaper article today. I think it's Times of India or Deccan Chronicle. It says programming people, hardly 20% or even less of the engineers in India can do a correct program. In fact, it analyzed various things, Now, when that is the case, why are we talking of Internet of Things and Internet of Everything and all those things? Yes, there is a scope for it. You have to specialize certain people, but how many people would be absorbed there? That's a different thing. And as a success, this one, we always point out IT. But IT success, I think there are certain reasons. The training in IT has been started by the private sector long time ago. Year 2YK, what they have done is NIIT and various other things have started certification courses. Apple, you call whatever companies, they were all doing certification courses. Certification has been a hallmark of IT right from the beginning. So it was very easy for the Government of India people, the various skill councils to step into that and then give certificates. Pharmacy has done extremely well, pharmaceutical, this one also. But in the other areas, when you see, I really get confused. Now, there are about 13 or 14,000 ITIs in this country, plus about 1,000 polytechnics. Now, what is happening to all these things? Now, sometimes we have a scheme of upgrading the ITIs into model ITIs. Then we are talking of privatizing some of those things and giving to the other people. A few might have been given. But today's paper again says, one of the reports, that ITI people and the polytechnic people are the least preferred in jobs. They don't get any this one at all. Now, certification courses. So many certification courses are being done, but there is so much of overlap, so much of duplication in these things. What's happening? Our friend talking about pharmaceutical, this one, he has said, now the drug controller has said, unless there is a certification, you would not be permitted to do. I mean, after so many years, they have woken up. For the last 10 years, we have been talking of, skills development. 2007 we started, 2009 we had a policy, 2015 we had another policy and all that. So, there is a sort of demographic dividend But if these people are not properly trained, some of the speakers had said, if they are not trained properly, I tell you, it's going to be a demographic disaster. Because a lot of them would end up in Naxalism, a lot of them would end up in joining militancy. There's so many things that can happen unless they are properly trained, each one of them. And then the targets we have fixed are so ambitious. I'm not saying that you should not have such targets. 500 million to be trained by 2022. That was the first target. It was slashed down to 300 million. Now it has again been slashed down to 150 million or whatever it is. So I think we need to see what exactly is happening. Now I have gone through the latest annual report of the Ministry of Skills Development and Entrepreneurship. You know, the first page itself starts with, we have so many problems, so many challenges before us. So many, they have not even named how many. But they said some of them are listed below. I think we need to focus on some of them, you know. I would just do that. One is lack of training infrastructure in the IITs, ITIs and the polytechnics. There is no equipment. Somebody has to give, some industry has to come, somebody has to finance that, and then only the people would learn. 2, lack of good quality trainers. So where are the trainers? You are not able to get the trainers. Some suggestions have been made. Get into some foreign collaborations, let them open some centers of excellence, let some of the industry leaders who have spent about 10 years in their job, let them take a sabbatical. For 6 months they should go into training and then come back again after 6 months. So some such thing has to be done. Unless we tackle this problem of good quality teachers, trainers, I think it's going to be very difficult to achieve your targets. Now, industry, does it realize that these certificate holders and the trained fellows are better than the other fellows, and do they give a price, a wage differential to them in the industry? This is another thing which needs to be looked at. If they are not going to get a wage differential, what is the use of his certification? He is not going to do that. Then lack of skilling options locally. There is so much of rural areas. Now if we have some place, you know, so far away, it's very difficult for the rural boys to go there. Locally, what can be done? Then cost of training elsewhere. You know, the fellow has to go somewhere, he has to stay in some place, he has to pay a lot of money. And then better support to students in terms of access to bank loans and on soft terms linked to their placement. The placement becomes important there, you know. And then multiplicity in assessment and certification systems leads to inconsistent results and confusion. No, that is also happening. I have seen there is a National Skills Development Corporation is there. They have evolved a sort of regime of certification and all that. But I wonder whether the state missions, the state skill development missions and corporations are actually in touch with the national one and collaborating with them. I have my own doubts. Because I was looking at the Telangana one, it's quite vague what they are going to do. They talk of tribals and then scheduled castes, what is to be done and all those things. But nothing much on this. Then most vocational training programs are not aligned to the requirements of the industry, which is a very well known this one. Now industry should interact more with the academia and play a much greater role in curriculum development. If the curriculum is developed by somebody else and these people don't follow, I mean don't participate right in a very vigorous manner, I think nothing is going to come. Then lack of trainers, I have already mentioned. I gave that idea about after 10 years somebody should take up that. Then better use of internships and apprenticeships. Apprenticeship Act has been changed. Now, I think we are not using these things properly, you know. I think this must be, you know, somebody used to tell me, civil engineers during the British regime, once he passed the BE civil engineering, the fellow had to do 1 year of internship. Then only the fellow could practice. Now there is nothing like that. So, but civil engineering, you might say it is also e-engineering, you know, something else. But the point is, that's why the fellow does not know how to mix cement and sand. He just puts the sand and lets out the water, he just puts the water into that. And whenever he remembers, he would come and remove the water. So it becomes it becomes a big slur, So I have seen this happening in many places. So even simple things, engineering things. Now, perhaps there is a time to put back the internship and all these things, Then there are some structural issues, like mainstreaming skills formation in the formal education system. Now, what has happened is, we are talking of the skilling only in the vocational system, the ITIs, the polytechnics, and then some of these certification programs. But in the main course, if he is doing BA, BA Biology or BSc Biology, BSc Physics, BSc Chemistry, somewhere else, I think in the mainstream also, there has to be some sort of a training given, skill education given there. And then create a formal school to work transition. From here, you should get into work transition and get back. I think that type of system has to be done. I believe the National Skills Development Corporation has tried this in about 1,000 schools in 10 states from class 9 to class 12. So simultaneously, as they are taking class 9, 10, 11 and 12 for 4 years, they are also given vocational training. And they get 2 certificates. One certificate from the school board and one certificate from the framework system, whatever it is. So then he can go either here or there, that flexibility is there. Public perception, this is also very important. The public perception that skilling is the last option for those who could not make it to the formal education system. It is a left out fellow who has joined the ITI or the polytechnic, the fellow is condemned to be there, forever. So perhaps there is a case to sort of give a degree to them. And then, I have seen it, for IAS, to appear for IAS, a degree is an essential thing. But now what they have done is, physiotherapy degree also is recognized for IAS, let me tell you. Then naval architecture, not only naval architecture, but army, I think, yes, Navy, naval architecture and some of those courses, also recognized for this. So it's good. Some aspirants are very, very capable fellows, they have been appearing for the IAS. So similarly, I think you should give, even for the ITIs or whatever it is, give some more training, another year or 2, or they should be able to do that. And then, skilling of women. The women is another one which has been completely neglected. I think there should be focus on that. Along with, for example, skilling in the Naxalite areas. There is a special scheme. Skilling in Kashmir, Udan, Bidan or some such schemes are there. So I think there have to be schemes specially focused on women. Women societies are already formed thanks to Lizzat Papad and then Mahila Graha Udyog and all those things. What you need to do is upskill them, from there push them up, into something else. I think it's quite easy. That can be done. And then the last challenge is the challenge of reaching the non-formal sector. You see, the formal sector only employs 20 people. The informal sector employs 120 people, 6 times more in the informal sector. How are you going to train these informal sector fellows? Now, unless all these points are looked into very thoroughly, I think we would be just going around and more of talk and less of action. And then you would say that so many certification courses are being conducted and so many fellows have been given certificates. But we don't see the result on the ground. If we see on the ground, there would not be news items like this programming fellows saying that only 20% fellows can even write a sort of sensible program. So that should not happen. And similarly, another paradox is, on one hand we say this ITI and the polytechnic fellows are not good. But I believe there is a big rush from the private sector to get into ITIs and polytechnics. I don't know why. And that at a time when some thousands of seats in the engineering colleges are lying vacant. They are not being filled. So somebody has said, this is the great travesty of talent in India. On one hand, there are so many seats lying vacant. Engineers are not finding this one. Industry keeps on complaining, saying that they are not capable of doing their job. On the other hand, we are talking of huge budgets again. the budget for the National Skill Development, I mean the Ministry of this one, for 15-16, only 1/3 has been spent at the end of the year. Out of about 1,500-1,600 crores given, I think about 500 crores was spent that year. So there is money. It's not that there is no money. I think all these things need to be tied up, and it is fragmented, and then a sort of approach need to be given up, and there has to be a holistic approach. In a country like in India, different things can be tried at different places. That is a different thing. But it has to be, some uniformity has to be there somewhere. I was quite happy when the pharmacy gentleman has said that now the certification is necessary. 8 lakh people or some such thing he mentioned. In course of time they have to get the certificates, otherwise they cannot even work in that particular area. So these are some of the suggestions. I hope you will focus them in your forthcoming summit. Thank you once again for calling me here. Thank you.